Good day, Doctor. In this report, we have chosen to analyze 5 companies from different industry, which are GDB, Westport, UMW, RHB, and YSPS. And our 20 trading days will be from April 30th to June 1st, 2021. Next, okay. My name is Kang Sing Lee, metric number 271342. Firstly, I'll be presenting about the economy analysis. Based on the edge market, the Monetary Policy Committee of Bank Negara Malaysia has decided to maintain the OPR at 1.75% until now, as there are positive signs that indicates that Malaysian economy is going strong. Next, Malaysia also have initiated an expansionary budget with the aim of stimulating domestic activity to improve the current economic condition. For example, the government has boosted its spending amounting to 322 billion ringgit for the country development purposes. The Malaysia's inflation in 2020 is negative 1.2% due to a drop in global crude oil prices, while the inflation was expected to range between 2.5% and 4% in 2021 due to the cost push factors. Besides, Malaysia's GDP dropped by 3.4% in the fourth quarter of 2020 compared to a decrease of 2.6% in the previous quarter. Overall, Malaysia's GDP declined 5.6% in 2020 compared to 4.3% in 2019. This is because of COVID-19 pandemic has impacted on the Malaysian economy.
Good morning, Doctor. My name is Lim Wan Sing, 269725. I will present for the first company, which is GDB. For the growth cycle, the KRT swing but in an upward trend. The KRT has reached 86.6% starting from 2020, significantly bigger than the benchmark FBN KLCI. According to the Malaysia Reserve, the worldwide semiconductor demand increased dramatically from 2014 to 2020, with global sales increased by 78%. In the same time, KRT increased by 361%. Economists believe that the COVID-19 pandemic will have a positive long-term impact on the semiconductor industry, with a push forward into digitalization and the implementation of new technology supporting chip demand. As a result, the technology industry in Malaysia, as well as the rest of the world, is officially in a rapid expansion growth cycle stage. Next, moving on to the swap, the strength of GDP is that it is creating customized product, while its high research and developing costs will be the weakness. The GDP opportunities and threat are the US-China trade war and competitive pressure. Next. Now I will discuss about the fundamental analysis. The GDP current ratio and credit ratio is in good condition, showing increasing trend and greater than 1, indicate that it can repay its short-term debt with current asset and have a low chance of being unable to repay its debt quickly. For leverage ratio, GDP both debt to asset and debt to equity ratio are less than 0.5 for the last 3 years, showing that the company is less risky and having high level of financial flexibility. Besides, GDP inventory turnover for the previous 3 years has always been greater than 12, showing its reorder too frequently. GDP total asset turnover is less than 1, indicating that the company is inefficiently using its asset to generate revenue, as majority of companies in the technology industry, total asset turnover are greater than 1. For profitability ratio, GDP net profit margin and return on equity are both greater than 10%, showing that GDP is doing well in terms of producing income from sales and generating return to its shareholder. Lastly, we will continue with the common stock ratio. GDP EPS decreased significantly from 0.25 to 0.08, mainly because of the rise in the number of common share outstanding, while GDP PE ratio reached sharply, indicating that investors are willing to pay a higher share price now due to future growth forecast. Next, we derive an intrinsic value of 1 ringgit and 33 cents for GDP share price, which is lower than its market price on the 1st of June. However, as we consider the external causes and sentiments surrounding technology industry, we believe GDP share price will range higher before falling back to its intrinsic value. Hence, we expect that the intrinsic value to reach to 4 ringgit and 43 cents in the 2022. Next, for MACD, the MACD line crossed above the signal line from May 18 to May 21, showing a buy signal. For RSI, GDP RSI has no climb over 17% and no fall below 30% during the trading day, suggesting that the stock is at the safe level. For MA, the share price crossed over the MA is starting to increase, given a buy signal on May 24. For supporting and resistant, GDP share price reached the support level on 21st of May, showing a buy signal. The share price reached the resistance level on May 27, causing the original resistance level transform into a new supporting level and purchase signal is presented. That's all for GDP. I will pass to my next member. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Rajing 270366. I will discuss the second company, which is Westport. Next, for the growth cycle, The KLTP index remained relatively consistent at first. However, the index has declined dramatically as more countries shut their borders and enact restrictions to limit the virus spread. Fortunately, from October 2020 onwards, KLTP has shown an upward tendency as the virus has compelled the industry to innovate and digitalize its processes. Also, during the MCO, e-commerce companies have seen a surge in business as Malaysians began to shop online more frequently, resulting in a rise in demand for transportation and logistics services. Besides, Malaysia's economy is forecast to grow, boosting the expansion of the industry further. Hence, we can conclude that the industry is at a mature growth cycle stage, as its expansion in recent years has been influenced by Malaysia's economic growth and is more predictable. Next. Moving on to the SWOT, Westport's strength will be its position on Pulau Indah, while its massive debt will be the weakness. Then Westport opportunity and threats are the acquisition of BCC and adherence to various port tariffs. Next. Now let us discuss the fundamental analysis. For liquidity ratio, Westport current ratio has been fluctuating. Since the current ratio is still above 1, this indicates that Westport has the financial capacity to remain solvent. Westport quick ratio follows the same pattern as its current ratio, but we believe it has no negative influence on the company's solvency, as it has greater than 1. For leverage ratio, Westport debt to asset ratio has been decreasing, which tells that Westport is less risky than in every previous year. Westport debt to equity ratio has declined over time, implying that Westport has reduced its risk as its funding is mostly provided by its owner. For activity ratio, Westport inventory turnover is growing, which denotes that there's a great demand for Westport goods and services. Westport total asset turnover has a modest growth, indicating that it is becoming more efficient in generating revenue from its assets. For profitability ratio, Westport MPM has increased at first, then remained unchanged. This trend indicates that Westport is improving its effectiveness in controlling costs. Westport ROE has increased, signifying that it can boost its profit generation by using less capital. For common stock ratio, Westport EPS have risen, demonstrating that investors will pay more for the share. Westport PE ratio has been on the up and down patterns, the low ratio suggesting that its stock price is now undervalued. Next, we derive an intrinsic value of 4.75 ringgit Malaysia for Westport share price, which is higher than its market price on June 1st, 2021. Also, Westport expects its growth to surpass the pre-COVID level in 2022, so we expect the intrinsic value for its share price to be 5.46 ringgit Malaysia in 2022. Next, moving on to the technical analysis. For MACD, the MACD has crossed below its signal line on May 21st, 2021, indicating it was time to sell. For RSI, Westport RSI has not climbed over 70% nor fallen below 30%, suggesting that the Westport stock is at a safe level. Next. For MA, 3 whips saw occur as can be seen in the table. Then, on May 25th, 2021, a crossover occurred, bringing the MA below its share price, resulting in a sell signal. For support resistance, Westport share price was consolidating and has not broken through either line. Thus, there are no buy and sell signals available. That's all for Westport. I'll pass it to my next member.
Good day, Doctor. I'm calling you 270339. So I will discuss the third company, which is UMW. As shown in the graph, KLCM has fluctuated throughout the years and achieved a peak in second quarter of 2018. However, in March 2020, the index got hit and experienced a significant decline due to the government has implemented MCO to control the confirmed case. Then the index reverted to a more regular trend and kept increasing until the second quarter of 2021. Also, effective COVID-19 vaccination will allow consumer and business operations to return to normal at a faster pace, growing the expansion of industry. Hence, we can assume that the consumer products and services industry is at a mature growth cycle stage. Next, the strength of UMW is having a strong business collaboration with Toyota Motor Corporation of Japan, while high cost requirements will be the weakness. Besides, the opportunity of UMW is COVID-19, which boosts the sales of automobiles, and the threat is crude oil prices. Moving on the fundamental analysis, since UMW current ratio is above 1, this shows that it has sufficient liquidity to remain sustainable, although it is not stable over the years. While quick ratio is increasing implies that UMW is able to pay off its liabilities. For leverage ratios, UMW debt to assets and debt to equity show the decrease, means the company is having good financial health. Besides, for activity ratio, although the inventory turnover and the total asset turnover has decreased, it indicates that UMW still has a steady demand for products and services from customers. However, the company is not particularly efficient with its utilization of assets. For profitability ratio, both NPM and ROE has increased in 2019 and decreased in 2020. This shows that the company is not able to control its costs and manage shareholder funds effectively. Then for common stock ratios, UMW EPS has increased at first, then decreased. The increases of EPS means investors are willing to pay more for shares. However, although PE ratio has a down and uptrend, it is considered high due to its share price being higher in comparison to its earning per share. Next, the UMW is undervalued as we obtain an intrinsic value of 4 ringgit 16 cents, which is higher than its market price on June 1. Then, we project the share price to rise to 5 ringgit 41 cents in 2022 as a result of seasonal promotions and new model introductions, which would help the company to boost its sales. Based on observations, the MACD crossed over above its signal line, signaling to traders that it was a bullish confirmation and it was time to purchase. RSI of UMW is trading in a safe area as the RSI has not climbed over 70% or fallen below 30% in the past 20 trading days. Next, for MA, we can see that on May 25, crossover occurs showing that the share price is going up above the MA, which is seen as a buying signal, while on May 28, it indicates a sell signal when stock price is sliding down below the MA. Lastly, for support and resistance, the share price has not reached both the support and resistance lines in the 20 trading days. There is no buy and sell signals. That's all for UMW. I will pass it to my next member.
Good day, Doctor. My name is Josephine and my metric number is 271016. Now I will present the fourth company, which is IHB Bank Berhad. Next. According to the graph, the KLFI index has fluctuated over the past 5 years, and the index experienced a significant drop in March 2020 due to the government implemented MCO. Fortunately, the index rebounds to a more normal trend in November 2020. This is because the news that COVID-19 vaccine might be widely accessible in 2021. In addition, the index kept rising until the second quarter of 2021. Also, the bank shares should to be among the top gainers on the Bursa. Due to the announcement successful COVID-19 vaccine, the financial service industry recovered. In short, we may conclude that the financial service industry is in a metric growth cycle. Next. SWOT analysis. The strength of IHB is provide a real-time mobile e-ticketing service, while the weakness is the mobile banking application. Besides, IHB opportunity and threat are the digital banking, and there are many competitors among financial service industry. Next, fundamental analysis. For leverage ratio, the debt to asset ratio of IHB remain constant, which is 0.9 over the past 3 years, which indicate that IHB is quite risky because the figure close to 1. IHB debt to equity ratio considered too high means that company will unable to pay its debt. Next, the asset to equity ratio of IHB has fluctuating, which indicate the company not longer access to new debt since the value is too high. For activity ratio, IHB total asset turnover remain constant, indicating that it is not able to generate sufficient revenue from its assets. For profitability ratio, IHB NPM has fluctuated, which signifying IHB is efficient in converting revenue into profit. IHB ROE show an up and down trend, implying that IHB is less efficient in generating profit from equity. The ROE of IHB are similar with ROE and can indicate that the company is unable to generate profit by its asset and not efficient on managing asset. For common stock ratio, IHB EPS has been fluctuating, means that investors are willing to pay more for the company's share. IHB PE ratio has been on an up and down pattern, the high ratio indicating that the stock price is now overvalued. Lastly, IHB dividend yield ratio is fluctuating. The higher dividend yield might be due to a significant reduction in the share price. Next, we can calculate an intrinsic value of 6.55 ringgit for the share price of IHB, which is higher than its market price around 1.25 ringgit on 1st of June. Moreover, IHB predicted to expand faster than the industry as a whole. Therefore, we project the intrinsic value for its share price will increase to 6.95 ringgit in 2022. Next, technical analysis. The MACD line has crossed above its signal line on May 12, signify a buy signal for investor. Then the RSI of IHB have neither climbed over 70% nor gone below 30%, indicating that the stock is at the safe level. Next, for moving average, there are 5 crossover occurred. The crossover happened on May 12, 24 and 28 with the share price going up and crossed above the MA showing a buy signal. On May 19 and 27, the crossover happened again, signaling a sell signal as the share price fell and crossed below the MA. Lastly, for the support and resistance, the stock of IHB is considered stable due to the resistance level stay intact and no new support level occur over the 20 trading days. That's all from IHB. I will pass it to my next member.
Okay, I'll be presenting about YSPS. Next. The overall performance of KLHC has been stable. However, KLHC began rising dramatically to the highest index in the early August as there are an increase in the demand for healthcare equipment. In fact, the rubber glove manufacturers are the ones that contribute the most in the increase of KLHC, as the rubber glove production has increased almost double in 2020. In conclusion, the KLHC will be still facing an upward trend as the COVID-19 cases are still not reducing. Hence, we assume that the healthcare industry is at rapid expansion cycle stage. Next. Okay, SWOT. What SPS strength is having a strong relationship with foreign suppliers, whereas their weakness is its operation only focuses on pharmaceutical products. The COVID-19 served as an opportunity for YSPS. However, the company may face fiery competition in the healthcare industry. Next. We'll be discussing about the fundamental analysis. In liquidity ratio, the current ratio of YSPS has had a slight drop from 2019 to 2020. Overall, YSPS current ratio is all above 1, which represents there is enough financial resources to sustain the company's obligation. Meanwhile, there is a fluctuating trend in the quick ratio of YSPS, but they are greater than 1, indicating YSPS have more than enough assets to be quickly liquidated to meet its current liabilities. For leverage ratios, the 3 debt to asset ratios is consistent throughout the 3 years, with the ratio much lower than 1, indicating the company is less risky and has a low leverage. The debt to equity ratio is also less than 1, indicating the company relying on equity financing more than debt financing. For the activity ratio, YSPS inventory turnover has a downward trend, which indicates the demand for YSPS pharmaceutical product is low. YSPS total asset turnover had a decline growth, but the company is capable of producing sufficient profits by using assets efficiently as the total asset turnover ratios are more than 1. For profitability ratio, YSPS NPM had a fluctuated trend. In the last 2 years, YSPS NPM has fallen below 10%, indicating the company is facing difficulty in managing its cost structures efficiently. The ROE ratio has shown a downward trend, which represents that the company is insufficient in generating profit and making a good use of the investor money. For common stock ratio, YSPS EPS has increased at first, but then remained unchanged, which signifies the company health is poor and they give a lower return to their shareholders. YSPS PE ratio has an upward trend, and the low PE ratio of YSPS will be considered as value stock because the company's share price are undervalued. Next, we derive the intrinsic value of YSPS share price is RM2.54, which is higher than the market price as of June 1st, 2021. Since the vaccine sentiment has caught the attention of investors, we predict YSPS share price will increase to RM3.06 in 2020. Next. The technical analysis for MACD, the MACD line has crossed below its signal line on May 7, 2021, indicating it was time to sell. The YSPS RSI has remained consistently within the safe area, meaning the RSI had not climbed above 70% nor dropped below 30%. For MA, there are about 10 crossover occurred. The first crossover occurred on May 6, 2021, where the share price fell below the MA line, indicating it's a sell signal. For the support and resistance, YSPS share price did not break through either line, which indicates there are no support or resistance line being formed. That is all from me. Thank you. I'll pass it to the next member.
Now we will talk about portfolio trading. Next. Following a thorough analysis, our team was able to successfully match a total of 42 buy and sell trades with a profit of 5,010 ringgit Malaysia or 5.01% on our client initial investment. We had also invested the cash inflow from the preceding selling during the trade to earn larger gain. Our team has sold out all of the holding share to the market, thus there will be no unrealized profit or loss. However, 4 of our transactions resulted in losses of about 703 ringgit and 63 cents. Besides, we believe no dividend distribution will be made by the companies due to the short trading periods. As a benefit of our team managing the portfolio on behalf of our clients, we have included a total of 21% commission charges in every trade. Nonetheless, by spreading risk and reacting to potential signal trigger, our team expert can maximize our clients' wealth. Next, That's the end of our presentation. Thank you.